This is the Seahawk Talk, episode 1, our first episode. This is a project started by the Cape Coral High School keyboarding class that we offer here. I'm your host, Mr. Eduardo Ortega. We are joined here today by Sergeant Major John Humphries. He's one of our JROTC instructors here at CCHS. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here.
So the way that this works is super easy questions. We were originally going to have First Sergeant Froman, but he's out of town, or I believe he's just not here today. We'll be editing this, so anything that you want redacted, more than welcome to do. Anything you don't want to talk about, not a problem, but super easy questions. First question that we wanted to ask you is, what are some of the challenges that you faced when you first started?
First started as a teacher?
Yes.
Well, 2002, started at Cypress Lake High School. My first day, welcome to the school. Young lady come flying through the door screaming. I turn around in shock, thinking I had to respond to some drastic circumstances going on. Come to find out that her boyfriend, which was my battalion commander, broke up with her the first day of school.
Tragic.
So as I sit there and looked at it all, and I says, and I have asked to do this as a teacher. There's got to be something wrong with this picture. And then later to find out that, every day is a different day, and each day is a different challenge. So it makes it worth it. What
do you wish everybody understood about your job?
The biggest thing is most people think that it's a 7 to 1:30 in the afternoon occupation.
Yeah.
It's not. If you enjoy the fact of teaching, if you like working with students, you're going to find out it's a 24/7 days a week job because you're always doing something to assist, help, or mentor, or guide, taking care of them. So there's your challenges. Your challenges is just not your typical retirement job.
Yeah.
Since I retired from the service, but it's something that you got to want to do.
How many hours would you say you work a week, if you were to give a rough number?
Wow. Well, my mornings start every day at 6 a.m., and normally I'm here at about 6 o'clock at night. And probably at least 2 or 3 weekends a month. I'm in some events, and sometimes at night too, depending on circumstances that the program is supporting. So
like football games.
If I put it in hours, I don't even want to put it in hours.
Okay, understandable. What gives you the motivation to keep going then? When you're clocking in these long hours, what kind of keeps you rolling?
I'd have to say the students.
Nice.
It's unique because you see them when they come in the door, and you see their problems or concerns. You help them, you fix it, you give them solution, you listen to their choices, guide them in the right direction, and then you see that what you've told them worked.
In your military background and then your teaching background, what has been your favorite job you've ever held? The favorite position when you were in charge of something, or whether that be at Cypress Lake or whether that be in service, what would be your favorite job?
It would have to be Cape Coral High School, ironically, because I've actually was at Cypress Lake, South Fort Myers High School, Mariner District Headquarters, Fort Myers High School, Cape Coral twice. So in the process of all that, I have to be Cape Coral, and I'll tell you because it was about 3 years ago when I had a challenging team that I rehearsed with, and they placed in a national, the national championship. So that was like more rewarding, watching the look on their faces that they were proud of what they achieved.
Yeah. What was that national? Was that with the drill team?
That is
national?
correct. That's the exhibition performing drill team.
What did that look like? How did you guys get to nationals? Were there like regional things you had to do?
We trained 4 or 5 days a week, and sometimes Saturdays too. And then go through multiple competitions throughout the state in preparation for that, as we're doing now.
Okay.
So here come March, April next year, we'll be heading to Daytona Beach in a national championship. But the stepping rows before that is multiple different levels of competition that we'll be in.
Okay. How does this year look like to you? Does it look promising? Or do you find yourself rebuilding? Or how does it look like for your drill team?
Well, for me, I would say start fresh, finish strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That being said, what has been your least favorite job to date, both either in the service or, as after your retirement as a JROTC instructor?
Well,
do you have a least favorite job?
No, not really. It's kind of crazy because I wanted to be a soldier, and I did it for 20 years and loved every minute of it. And then I wanted to be a teacher and been over 20 years doing that and still here. So I really don't have no least favorite thing. I just don't.
What do people misunderstand about you the most then, you would say?
I would have to say probably the fact that discipline is the key to success. So understanding that I'm asking you to change some of your demeanor to be more disciplined and more focused in what you're trying to get accomplished. And sometimes the average teenager may not see that when they first walk into a high school environment and step into our kind of program.
Yeah.
But yet, after a period of time with us, they figured out that, well, we're going to hold that line of discipline, but at the same time, we're going to put a smile on their face and make them feel part of something.
I would definitely agree. I think like the band world, we have that as well, where like it's hard for them to see how discipline's helping them until the very end. We're like, oh, like we did all that work and then we got this far. Like we made it this far. What are the things people struggle with within your field? What have you seen other colleagues struggle with? Maybe not you personally, but what is a significant stressor in your career field?
Since over the 20 years I've been in the business, and I'm the longest instructor in this entire county, and I've seen many come in and walk out the door less than 6 months, trying to do.
What do you think that is?
And I think a lot of that causes from they don't realize that this is not a walk in the door retirement job. It's just not. Although you have a career in the military and then you finish with that career and you're at a very high level, when you step out of that career and step into the civilian world school environment, you're a teacher. I mean, you're not an administrator. You're not a disciplinary person. You are a teacher. So that requires you to do certain tasks and take care of students every day. If you don't have that patience for that, this is definitely not the job you want to do. So you got to have patience, and a lot of them didn't have that patience. They seen this as a retirement job.
Does the Army prepare you for the JROTC program, or is it kind of like, here's an option, you can take it, and then people just take it?
No, they never did. If you want to do this, you want to be a teacher. So you got to have it in your heart to start with. When I want to be a soldier, I had it in my heart when I was 9 years old and older. I wanted to do this probably within my last 5 years of military service. When I said, when I get out of this, I'm going to go teach JROTC at a high school because I want to do that. Now I'll always be a soldier and I'll always help them. So here I am.
What were your responsibilities when you were in the Army?
I was a Field Artillery Command Sergeant Major, which is the highest enlisted position you can have in this service. And at the same time, I had 5,000 soldiers that you oversee and provide mentorship and guidance to, with assistance of other supervisors. But so you're a planner, a thinker, a problem solver. So you do those type things once you get to that level. Part of that level, well, you're a soldier and you do what you're told.
Did you see combat when you served?
No. What we do is that in the process of timing during Desert Storm, Iraq, and all them other places, I was actually in Turkey. So in Turkey, the war was going on, but we were on the other side of the border. So we were in ready posture, and what that mission was is not important. But that what we had to do was a significant mission, but we didn't have to do it, so it was a good thing.
Oh, okay. Got you. So would you say that your time in the military was not something that was like extremely stressful, or would you say that your time in the military was a high stress situation?
Well, at times, the stress level was very high, but for the most part, I didn't really see it to be a challenge because it's something I wanted to do. So I was really seeing it as an adventure, but it is what it is.
Were there any moments when you were enlisted that you wanted to doubt the decision you made, or were you pretty set in stone?
Well, yeah, there was probably one time because I was standing in the middle of Korea in a frozen rice paddy in a training environment, and it was beyond cold. So that was probably the day that I said, why am I doing this? And I'm from Florida.
So were you born and raised in Florida?
No, I was born in Sumter, South Carolina, and then moved to Florida when I was little, and up in Tampa area, and then high school graduate, went to service, and there I was.
You went straight from high school graduation to
17 years old. I walked out the door of high school. Already told my dad I'm going to service and signed the paper. He said, what if I don't? I said, well, 4 months I'll be 18. You're holding up progress. He signed the papers. I called my wife, now girlfriend then, and told her I'm going into the Army. And she said, when? I said, tomorrow morning. So I had to drive halfway across town and calm her down. And
Your
then,
wife was your high school sweetheart?
absolutely,
Congratulations.
and still married. Here on November 14th be our 46th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so we're still out there. And then in the process of all that, the as I told her, I said, it's an adventure, something to do. So I turned 18 on November the 9th. I graduated basic training on November 11th. I got married November 14th, and 2 weeks later I was in Europe, just like that.
What was your family's reaction to you enlisting? Were they extremely
Well,
supportive?
my mom and all of them were all concerned because, in my lifespan, Desert Storm, terror, Trade Center, all this stuff was going on, Kosovo, Bosnia, Sarajevo, Panama, all these things were going on around the world. Always concerned because I was a soldier. I said, don't worry about it. It's what I do for a living. It'd be all right.
What was your experience, because you brought it up, what was your experience like when 9/11 happened? You were already enlisted, correct?
I was in service. I was actually at a Honda dealership getting my car serviced when they hit the Trade Center. Seen it, said, get the car out of service, went back to the base. And then, everything was getting ready, stuff we had to do, things coming up, getting ready to deploy. All them things were going on.
So from the time of your deployment, or what was the window between 9/11 happening and you guys actually mobilizing in the Army? What was that? Was that a couple of days, weeks, months, or was it just a couple of hours?
I don't remember.
It was quick, though, like the way you made it sound, right?
I don't remember.
Do you think it was because of the trauma of the event that you kind of you don't remember, or do you just...
No, because I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. Oh, okay. No worries. What was the most pivotal moment in your life that made you want to change for the better? What was like a bookmark where you go back to and you say, that's where, Sergeant Major Humphries became, the Sergeant Major Humphries that we know now?
I would have to say when I was the commandant of the NCO Academy at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. It's the highest enlisted position you can have on the base, and training leaders to become leaders. So, my standards and my procedures and how I did things was always very high. I was promoted in all my ranks, way ahead of all my peers. So, I was a sergeant major at 17 years. It normally takes about 24. So based off my efforts of what I wanted to achieve, I thought I did it pretty good. I said life is better when you're at the top.
What were you responsible for when you were in that position, that base commander position?
Well, just about everything. You're always overseeing the programs, the training, the soldiers' families, soldiers taking care of the families. So you got a lot in that family advocacy and assisting and directing and making sure people make the right decisions. Disciplinary, to cause those actions to occur for those who fail to follow instructions, all that. So it really didn't have no limitations or bounds. You did just about everything.
Who did you report to? Who was your boss in that position?
I had an actual full colonel that I worked for. Kevin Bergner, never forgot his name, was a great commander. And then later he became a general, but that's the person that you work for. You're a sergeant major, you have yourself and you have a commander. And that commander, together, you run this organization.
Was he a good leader?
Oh, absolutely. All of my commanders were good leaders.
What was the common characteristic that they shared that you would say made them good leaders?
A lot like me. He didn't take no crap, and he dealt with business when he had to.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would your parents describe you as a kid? Pre 17-year-old.
Rambunctious, out of control. Will cause you a nightmare. When I was little, I used to think that, a good time was seeing how much trouble I could get into. When I was in school, I used to think that school was all about socialization and nothing about school. Then at a certain point, I was in band. At a certain point, my band director said, if you want to play a trumpet in this band, don't have no problem in your classes. After that conversation, I never had another problem in my classes because I wanted to play trumpet in a band. So Felix Acosta was his name. His daughter now is a band director there in Tampa. So that changed my life, I do believe. and to making the right decisions and doing the right thing. And then my last year of school, I was on the principal's honor roll. So I thought that was pretty good.
So you would say that the band director that you had, that's actually very ironic. The
Yes.
band director that you had was really like one of those turning points where you kind of fix your academics.
He was the guy, Felix Acosta. I don't forget that guy. Felix Acosta. He's the guy that caused me to change my stupidness when I was young.
That kind of leads to what would you say are the three most influential people in your life, living or dead, and how have they impacted you?
Well, I'd have to say the first one I put in a pair would be mom and dad, because they are very strict. You know, when my girlfriend and wife now showed up and had some shorts on, my mom told her to get out of her house and go back and put some clothes on. My mom's very strict. So they held us to a very high standard on what right was supposed to be. That would be one. Felix Acosta, my band director, who changed everything I ever did. And then to make sure things were right. And then that's really the two that made the most impact for me. I don't really see a third person. That's the two groups. So mom, dad, and the band director.
What is a motto or a mantra that you live by? Is there a phrase that gets you up in the morning where that you always remind yourself, something that's recurring?
Absolutely. Get it done or get out of my way.
Do you think that you remind me a lot of Teddy Roosevelt, where you have like this very American go get them attitude? Have you found that people don't like that? It makes you uncomfortable?
Often. And I tell them, get out of my way.
Did you struggle with that when you were younger, the
Nope.
isolation?
Told them too, get out of my way.
Really?
Absolutely.
I
didn't have many friends because of it, but didn't care. I'm a business person, you know. I'm like, if I got a task to do, get it done. When I was in band, had to learn a certain sheet music, get it done. Band director say, hey, we got this year going to happen on this time, at this time, get it done. I had a little group of trumpet players that were working with me, and were supposed to be doing what they're supposed to do. And if they didn't get it done, I'll be like, they got to go, get it done. So I've always had that attitude. And I used to work for McDonald's when I was in high school, and there I was a crew chief leader and did all that stuff. I'm like, get it done or get out of here. So that's just my way I do things.
What was the highest honor that you've ever received, either in service or an informal honor? What was the highest honor you've ever received?
Well, in service, receiving the Legion of Merit for things I've done. And the school system, having this senior tell me thanks in 1976 because she was failing. And I grabbed hold of her and said, they gave her living my theory, get it done. So she changed, contacted me probably I hadn't heard from her about 5 years ago, to tell me that she's teaching now as a math teacher over here at the Trafalgar Elementary School. So making that same person that was failing school, grabbing them and saying, you're not going to fail. Here's what you're going to do. Now, get it done. And staying on them. And next thing you know, when they graduated, they tell me thanks. So that's pretty important to me.
My follow-up question was going to be, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? But it sounds like you've kind of been successful at that, making an impact on students.
If there's one thing I could be probably remembered for, that I care about people and far as how to help them, and that they're being successful. So I've just been that way most of my life. If I can help somebody, I go out of my way to help them. I was outside no more than 10 minutes ago, and the security guard walks over to me and says, there's a young lady out here and her car won't start. We're trying to get it pushed off the side of the road. Not a problem. So my mindset is not what my mission was at the moment, that I needed to get ready and get finished and get squared away, bell's about to ring. It was kind of go help that person and get them off the street. And I weigh the two and go, I'm going to get that person off the street. I go out there. It was headspace and timing because she didn't know how to drive a car. But once I showed her, and then she was fine, she drove off. Security guard sees me and he says, y'all just know how to figure stuff out. I looked at him, I said, no, I just been here long enough to know it's already happened to me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of.
What's the source of that, you think? What's the source of Sergeant Major Humphries' unrelentless motivation?
So courses that I've been through, Phew. Lots of them. Non-commissioned officers academies, NCO academies, naval gunfire spotter courses, master fitness trainer courses. I'm a distant runner, Army 10 milers, did all that. All of that, degrees in business. That's kind of.
You have a collegiate degree, you said?
No. Degrees in business.
Oh, okay.
So when you go to like the NCO Academy, you do all of that at my level as a sergeant major.
Oh, okay.
So we were there forever, but it's all military stuff.
So that's an academia that's not open to the public. You have to be
Correct.
in the
You gotta be in
NCO
service.
program.
In
Okay.
service. Yeah, to go to that military academy.
How would you compare that to a normal university program? Are there any differences, or are they pretty similar?
Yeah, university program, most of the time when you're out of school, you're out of school. That program, you're out of school, you're doing something with the school. So you're always a soldier. You always got something going on. There it is.
Do you try and find ways to fill up your time on a daily schedule, or does it just naturally happen?
I never have to look for anything to do. It finds me. So I've always got stuff going on. I'm always out and about and talking to people and seeing stuff. I'll tell you what, I give you a hand with that. A teacher the other day says, anybody got a chainsaw? Yeah, I got a chainsaw. Well, my palm tree fell in the hurricane. I says, where you at? I said, come by. We'll chop that thing up. Swing by the house, chainsaw the tree up, keep on going. So you always got something going on. If I ain't got something going on, I'm bored. So I'm always got to have something going on.
How many hours of sleep do you typically have on average a day?
4 or 5 a night, on average.
Do you drink coffee?
Nope. Hate coffee.
Do you drink any caffeine or?
If the Pepsi-Cola company goes out of business, I'm going to probably get mad.
How many Pepsis do you drink a day, usually?
I don't keep count.
You just have like a 12-pack in your refrigerator?
Just get me a big old thing and just drink it when I can.
That's very interesting. Do you, if you could want more sleep, would you want more sleep? Or
No,
you're fine just functioning on
Yep.
4 or 5?
didn't get much sleep when I was in the Army. Didn't care. So you didn't want to sleep there. You kept one eye open. So when you do all of that, you have to say that sleep's like a waste of time. You're wasting time.
I agree, but I for me personally, I've noticed that if I get less than 6, I don't function as effectively the next day. So I wanted to ask you, do you prioritize sleep at all, or have you found that you just rush to the action kind of deal?
No, I don't prioritize it. If I want to sleep, go to sleep. If I don't want to sleep, get up. Ain't no priority of sleep. Ain't got time for it. Sleep because I have to.
You have an incredible willpower that is very.
Yeah, I'm on the go. I'm always on the go. I hear the other day they say, oh, I need chaperones. I said, well, I told you I was going to be there. Well, we got this shift. I said, no, I get there at 6. I leave at midnight. I'll be there all day. I ain't got nothing else to do.
You've mentioned before that your attitude towards get it done, and the unrelentless attack on the task at hand, has that caused any tension with colleagues at all, or do you find it that you actually motivate them instead?
Yeah, but don't care.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care
That's
at all.
interesting.
Absolutely not. If they wanted you to have a friend, they would have issued you one when you came in the Army. I ain't got time for all that. So I tell people, I said, look, if you don't understand that there's a task, because the task that you're doing, somebody's depending on you getting it done. Or that task is going to help somebody when you get it done.
Yeah.
So if you sit there and delay or procrastinate or talk and, okay, I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll get to it. Well, how many people are you not going to help until you get to it? Those people are now holding their lives on hold, waiting for you to get to that task so they can move on.
Yeah.
So I say, get it done or get out of my way.
I think you already answered, but I want to ask anyway. If you could go back and give your high school self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't change. Don't change.
In what regards?
I am the way I am. You don't get this way. I always say everybody in this world is born for a purpose. I figured my purpose was show people how to get it done. Get it done. If you can't get it done, I'm going to get rid of you or you're going to get out of my way. Because we're going to get it done. And then it makes you happy. It's like tasks, you know. It's like, okay, I'm going to fix this microphone. It's going to be fixed. Done with that. I'm going to fix this table. I'm going to get it fixed. Done with that. I'm not going to say, well, I got a couple things I need to do. I'll get to it sometime. You will never get to it. Next thing you know, those 2 things you had to do become 20,000 things you have to do that you still ain't got to. Get it done. Or get out of the way.
Do you think that's the biggest message you would want to tell the students at Cape is that just get it done?
Yeah, I mean, if I was to tell students anything, I'd say spend less time trying to figure out where you fit in the social aspects of the world and spend more time figuring out what kind of education you're trying to achieve so you can go to the college you want to get to. Because you're going to find out your social butterfly and timeline is not going to take you anywhere. What's going to happen to you is you're going to still continue down that road of social butterflying, and you're not going to be successful in getting the job you want. It used to be in the old times is that you had a bachelor's degree, you were somebody special. Today, that's just a piece of paper. Because somebody next to you is going to say, I got a master's degree. Somebody next to that's going to say, I got a doctor's degree. And then when you're going to get to a business, they're going to tell you that, oh, that's beautiful, but you're overqualified. So you got to know how to network. You got to know how to work the job market. But you ain't going to do any of that if you spend all your time all day long trying to figure out where you fit in the social butterfly world of this school.
Caring about other people's thoughts.
You know, walking down the hallway and she goes, I'll spend my whole life in a squat box called a cell phone. Why? Turn it off. It's amazing. Whatever's coming on that thing, they go into a cloud. They told me that at the phone company. Coolest thing I ever seen. So I tell people, I says, take your time out of that world. I've seen 2 people standing right next to each other on cell phones, talking to each other, but not talking to each other. So I asked them, they were actually on a bus, and I asked them, I says, who are you talking to? And they pointed at each other. And I go, they're sitting right there, you know. We're just texting. Okay. So I think today's world and the young people, they're missing the boat on some of that. They're missing the boat that where are your communication skills? Where are your how to apply yourself? Not how to say, I'm lost, let me figure it out. Google, take me home. That's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to do this. Google, help me. Well, how about figure it out? Because you're never going to learn. Google's going to tell you how to do it, and you're just going to follow Google. But your mind's not working to cause you to problem solve, to be able to find out later in your life that problem solving ability you're going to need more times than one. I used to think math was not important until I started at my house cutting and making stuff and realizing that, I'm glad I paid attention in that class because this angle is worth this angle, and I got to take 20 degrees here versus 35 over here, put crime molding in. So you do all of that, and you say, you got to just take a look at what you're doing. You know, where you want to go. I see young people sitting in this room. I ask them right now, I says, what are you going to be when you grow up? If you ask that question, what are you going to be when you grow up?
It's funny. I asked that to a student.
You'll be surprised what answer they're going to give you.
I had a student less than a week ago tell me, I don't have any dreams. And I was like, that is so bizarre to me.
Yep, but I'm going to have to go.
And on that note, Sergeant Major Humphries, round of applause. Woo, yeah. We'll send this your way. We'll give you a draft, and you're more than welcome to redact or edit or take anything away that you want to.
Ain't no draft, ain't no edit.